A very good evening to each and every one of you. And thank you so much for joining in. It's really great to have you with us at Management Me School of Confidence. And we are at Secrets of Living a Full Life. So, as you all know, full life means fearless, unstoppable, limitless, and loving. So, under the topic of secrets of living a full life, we have various topics which we take up for discussion. And we also sometimes invite guests who give in their inputs. And we're so thankful that these three beautiful ladies have joined us. And they will be taking over the session on dealing with anxiety and stress. All of them are students of psychology and let me share a little bit about them. So, welcome Riddhi Shah, a master's student in counseling psychology who combines academic expertise with profound commitment to empowering individuals through mental health support, aspiring to contribute significantly in the field. And it's a really great initiative that you have taken to join us today, especially on this beautiful topic. She
Thank you.
actively seeks practical experiences and builds connections with a keen interest in working across diverse areas of mental health. Um, in her free time, she enjoys coffee, watching sunsets, and exploring new cafes and restaurants. Well, that's also one of my hobby. So maybe we'll meet again together by the sea.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you, Riddhi, and welcome.
Thank
Next, we have Krisha Sharma, who's a master's student in counseling psychology, interested in working with children, specifically children and older adults. She is building a professional network and enjoys coffee, movies, and music in her free time. Again, coffee is a common thing between all of us now. So let's see the next person, that is Misha Gada. She's also a passionate student of counseling psychology, master's, dedicated to helping others navigate their emotional landscapes and breaking the stigma um, regarding mental health. She's particularly interested in supporting couples, young adults, and children. Outside her studies, she enjoys reading, cooking, savoring coffee. So, coffee is again common. Blending academic dedication with zest for life's simple pleasures. So, I am so happy that I'm with like minded people, young counselors who are ready and out there to contribute to the world. In your age, I did not have that wisdom that you're having. So, a huge round of applause to all these three ladies who have joined in here, young girls who are out to contribute and speak about dealing with anxiety and stress. So, the field is all yours. I would like to also invite Karina Faria, who's a student of Management Me School of Confidence, as well as she's in her 12th standard pursuing psychology. So we have Neha Bagri, who is also one of our students at Management Me School of Confidence, who's taken up the life coaching certification program with us. We have Bhavya, who's, of course, the reason behind us being here today. Thank you, Bhavya. We have Vidhi with us, who's also a young student. Again, another student of psychology. I mean, arts, not psychology. Can't say whether she's going to take psychology or not. We have Rishon, who's a young engineer, and he's at Thakur College of Engineering, studying in the third year. We also have Usha. Usha is also a psychology graduate, and she graduated at the beautiful age of 50 years, becoming an inspiration to all those homemakers who really want to pursue their studies but have never had the courage to go forward and complete their studies after being a mother of three children. So, Usha is a great inspiration for all of us, like Neha, and we are all so happy to be here today. So, Krisha, Riddhi, and Misha, the floor is all yours. Please go ahead.
Ma'am, can we wait for 2 minutes? I think Riddhi's network kind of got disconnected.
All right.
Yeah.
So, the topic is anxiety and stress. Audience, we already know that in this fast-paced life, many of us face anxiety and stress. It's not just a problem of mental health, but it is also seems to be a normal problem, an everyday problem. So that is the reason why we have joined in here to discuss more about dealing with these two things, which is sort of becoming an epidemic. And the offshoot of that turns into depression and many other such mental health conditions. And though we do not give much importance, like अभी एक खरोच हो गया है तो लोग डॉक्टर के पास जाते हैं, पर दिमाग में खरोच हुआ या there is something that we are not able to deal with, we're not able to take the pressures, we never think about taking help for the same. So I'm sure this session is going to add value to your lives, and whenever it is possible you can come back to this session and get answers for your questions and deal with the anxiety and stress in a better way. That is the purpose of today's session. So have we got Riddhi here?
No, ma'am, just a second. She's just facing some network issues.
Okay. So, Misha, tell me what made you take up psychology?
Yeah, ma'am. So I myself faced issues, anxiety issues during my 12th standard board. So I started reading about what is anxiety for and then who do I go to? So
Hmm.
yeah, and it started interesting. I started reading few books about psychology. So yeah, that was the
Okay.
reason. Yeah.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
And yeah, since there was a lot of stigma and you couldn't easily approach people because no one was aware about it. Yeah, that made me motivated to take up this.
Correct.
Yeah.
What about you, Prisha?
Yeah, ma'am. So I was first going to pursue hotel management, but that
I
somehow
can't see
didn't.
you. I can't see you.
Oh, just a minute. Yeah. So I was going to pursue hotel management, but that somehow didn't work out. And then I like took up arts and started reading psychology since 11th. And I've loved the subject so much that I decided to go ahead with the graduation.
Hmm.
Of course, as Misha mentioned, like now since we are in the field, we know that there is a lot of stigma around it,
Hmm.
and it needs to be addressed. And compared to the ratio of people who suffer from mental health disorders, the number of professionals is very less. So
Hmm.
I think it's our way to contribute to the society as well as help others.
True.
Yeah.
So,
So yeah,
yeah.
tell me.
So, what are the kind of cases that you have come across? You did internship in certain places, right?
Yes. So as Riti had mentioned earlier, we did internship as facilitators, like workshop facilitators. So
Hmm.
we worked mostly with kids.
Hmm.
Me and Misha worked at a school,
Hmm.
and we provided them with, workshops on menstruation and career guidance.
Hmm.
And Riddhi worked at a school again. It was an NGO which
Hmm.
was for underprivileged children. So they used to come there, they used to study, and Riddhi and other classmates from our college, they went there and they used to provide them with, different life skill sessions and testing. So
What
that
kind of
was
test?
kind of, so they had done the intelligence test and a few more, I think. So
Hmm.
just to like gauge where the audience stands. And
Correct.
there were psychologists who were on board to, help them and identify and supervise them. So I think it was a great experience for her as well as for us. This
Hmm.
time we'll get more opportunity to, actually be into the field and like take cases, actually talk to the clients. So this semester is going to be fun. Um, yeah, and Riddhi is just joining. Can you take her in?
No, but I've
Yeah.
not got her
Yeah,
right.
ma'am. She's trying to join.
But I've not got her this.
Okay.
Just a minute. I have not got her this admit.
I think she's trying to join again.
She
Just a
said
minute.
she's joining.
Yeah. She tried joining, but
Ask her to log out and then join in again, na? She's already logged out, right?
yeah.
So, yes, Riddhi. Yes, Riddhi. It got cut. Because I can't see the admit. Oh, there's a power cut. Do you have the PPT or you want me to open the PPT?
Ma'am, I can share it. Just give me a minute. Just let me know if you can see the screen.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that
Yeah.
will be better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you all see the full screen?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, for sure.
Okay. So we'll be beginning with the session today. Riddhi will join us, so she'll take over whenever she joins. So as you know, the name of the session is Navigating Stress and Anxiety. So first, as ma'am mentioned, that when we look at health as a component, we often look at it as like physical health and not mental health. Okay, so सिर्फ जो दिख रहा है या the things that are observable, only those are considered to be a problem, whereas mental health, that's not observable. So this is just observable through behaviors. So if a person is trying to pretend to be or acting as if everything is okay, we might not even come to know that the person is going through something. So mental health encompasses two components, that's physical health, your nutrition, your exercise, and all the different disorders also that the people go through. So BP and all also come in that. Then there's mental health, which has your well-being and how you tackle with day-to-day issues and how you act in a given situation. So now we'll be looking at what do you understand by mental health. So can some of you just tell me what mental health to you is or what it means?
Mental health is basically like the condition of our brain, thoughts, and emotions, and how we connect all of them together. Like through thoughts and emotions are like connected to each other. It can influence one another.
Right. Perfect. That's a very good answer. And I think this is what mental health is. It's our thoughts, behaviors, and feelings that we go through daily. And as you can see on the screen, there are some stats. So 970 million people around the world struggle with some sort of mental illness. And when we talk about anxiety in particular, there are 284 million individuals worldwide who have been impacted by anxiety disorder. So, जो मतलब हमें दिखता नहीं है, हमको लगता है कि this is something that is not present, but it actually is. So Riddhi often uses this example for even us to understand the concept better. So she uses this example of when you're surfing in the ocean, so there are small waves that come in your way. So these are all the daily stressors, like maybe today you have to get your work done, आज हमें homework करना है या आज हमको कहीं जाना है, or we have an event planned, right? So these all are small waves, and then there are larger waves, that is the anxiety. So to overcome these, we need to know our surfing skills and our coping mechanisms. And we will be talking about this in detail in the session as to how one can cope with it at their own level. And of course, mental health, seeking mental health professionals help is necessary. But if it is a mild concern, you can tackle it on your own, and you decide whether you want to work towards your mental health or not. So now we'll be looking at what anxiety and stress is. So Misha will be talking about that.
Okay. So now we'll dive into our main topics for today, which is anxiety and stress. So let us imagine that you are driving a car. So stress is like driving through a busy, chaotic city where every turn is uncertain and you feel overwhelmed because of traffic and noise. Anxiety, on the other hand, is like driving with constant fear of crashing, even when the road is clear and there is no immediate danger. So both of them can be debilitating, but they are not the same. So, dealing with stress and anxiety can be challenging, but it is important for one to understand that one can manage and tackle this feelings because it is in their control. Also, remember that you have the power to steer your mental health journey in a positive direction. Yeah. So now Krisha will talk about stress.
Right. So when we say stress, what do you understand by the concept of stress? Can anybody tell me? Or in layman terms?
Come on, Rishon.
Stress is unknowingly thinking.
Okay. Anybody else?
Stress is just a type of feeling or like a thing which you make up keep because of this, if I don't do it correctly, or the stress of perfection, like this is a part of stress. It's like you can have
Right.
stress for perfecting things. So stress is like you could do how can I explain it? Like you're too overly conscious about a particular thing, which leads you to think and take like have negative thoughts about the thing, even though it's not something which is very huge or something like that.
Absolutely. So this is the correct, definition, I would say. So stress is nothing but our body's reaction towards any kind of challenge or demand. So it's like when we have like a big test or a lot of work to do, we may feel worried, or our heart might beat faster, we may sweat, or we may feel tense or worried, constant worrying. But this stress is situation tied, okay? So that means that when a challenge or an event is, it's dealt with and it's complete, that time the stress levels go down. So there are two types of stress that we look at. So first is the positive stress, which is also known as eustress. So this kind of stress is more towards the motivating side. So this will help us to get our daily work done, and this doesn't cause any kind of trouble, I would say. So it's like preparing for maybe a big event or a competition or a presentation at school. um, and you will try to give your best, so this helps you to perform better and achieve more at the personal level and grow, right? Then there is bad stress. Now this is also known as distress. Distress is any negative kind of stress that may make you feel overwhelmed, and you may like go into like a negative state of thoughts, as Karina mentioned. So this happens when our body or our mind looks at any kind of challenge as threatening. Okay, so now since it's bad, it may cause health issues such as severe headaches or high BP, anxiety, or even serious mental health concerns such as depression. And an example of this would be that a student may be preparing for his JE exam or maybe UPSC exam, and they're stressed about it. Now, the pressure to do well can lead to anxiety, trouble sleeping, as well as affect their performance. So this, when the stress is kind of prolonged, it can lead to multiple issues in future. Now we'll be looking at what is anxiety. So Michelle will just explain you the
1 minute. Can we just take from the audience what is eustress and what is distress for them? If they can give
yes.
quickly an example.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you
Anyone
like
can
to?
go ahead.
Yeah.
Could you repeat what did you say, ma'am?
So,
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, ma'am.
So they explained about eustress and distress. Eustress, which is a stress which is positive, and distress is which is negative.
Negative.
So because of certain positive events also we get stress. So can you give an example of that?
A positive event can be, I think, result or like finding result of something like
Result.
exam, or like you're getting a job or not.
Is
Is
that positive stress?
like that, I
Stress.
don't know, like
Right. So I
usually-
think what she means is, getting the, so for example, if she's talking about job, so one might feel a positive stress and be motivated to actually work towards getting the job. And once they get the job, the stress lowers. So this kind of stress is motivating and you get your work done. And bad stress, anybody?
I think bad stress can just be like if you've done something which is not up to date, or not how you would like it, or thinking that how other person might have thought about it, and then you just take stress about it, like have yourself into those thoughts, like I could not do it, I failed at this, I failed at that.
Right. So you go into like a spiral and then it keeps on, getting worse. So that's something that's known as bad stress or distress. Now
But-
Misha will be talking about the anxiety part.
Okay. So before we understand what anxiety means in depth, can anyone tell me, have you ever felt anxious about something? And if so, what was it about?
I think you stop the screen sharing and ask everybody. So this is something very important. And I
Right.
think everybody can share anxiety.
Yeah.
The question was what we felt like anxiety, like what
Yeah.
how
Have you
so-
ever felt anxious, or is there a specific event where you have felt like you couldn't
yeah
complete the event?
yeah before board exams, and that is one thing, and the other can be before giving an interview or something like that. Say you're very anxious about how will you perform.
Akash, have you felt anxiety?
No, ma'am. Sometimes I had felt, but now not anymore.
No, I'm just asking you for an example of when you felt anxiety. If you can, share.
No,
You have not felt anxiety.
I had felt during my college year, graduation time.
So that is what we are asking. So again, it is anxiety related to exams.
Hmm.
Okay.
Was
Yeah,
it stress or was it anxiety? Because stress is something that is short term.
both.
So, yeah, tell me.
First year, actually, I got KT in 2 subjects. That's why.
Okay. Okay, right. So that goes into the anxiety bit.
And then I somehow managed to clear by studying in 2 months.
Okay.
Difficult subjects
So
there.
now exams don't make you anxious?
Sometimes they make, but now not anymore.
Okay. Okay.
Neha this side. I
Yeah.
felt lot
Yes,
of
Neha.
I felt lot of anxiety, unknowing anxiety. Even I didn't
Right.
know. I had a loose motion.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is one
So
of the
1.5
physical symptoms.
months after that, I got hospitalized, and I know that I have anxiety.
Okay. So did the doctor diagnose you, or
The
like
doctor diagnosed, admit me for the 5 days. Every
Oh.
test was done. Nothing was coming. End of the day, he told
Right.
me you have a anxiety.
Okay.
Okay.
Hold on, Neha.
This anxiety because of loneliness and sitting at home.
Okay.
Mhm. Okay.
Yeah,
One
there could be.
sec.
Yeah.
One sec. Neha, just meet me after the session online only. Stay online. Huh?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. Yes, continue.
Okay. So many of you shared your experience about anxiety, and one thing that I would like to point, the anxiety symptoms can be seen in our body as well, like Neha mentioned. She got loose motion, and doctor couldn't find any other physical reason why she was feeling that, but it was anxiety. So I would like to mention that you could have physical symptoms of anxiety. We'll later on talk about it. So let us understand what does anxiety mean. So anxiety is a natural response to stress or perceived threats. It involves feeling of apprehension, worry, uneasiness, and it is often accompanied by physical sensations such as increased heart rate, sweating, and muscle tension. So anxiety becomes problematic when it is too excessive or disproportionate to the actual threat, leading to significant distress and impairment in daily functioning.
Uh, yeah. So as Misha has given us the meaning of anxiety, and now I spoke about stress, we look at the basic difference between the two. So stress, as mentioned earlier, is short term. When an event gets over, you stop feeling stressful, or you any kind of stress related to the event. So like I mentioned, once you give your JE or your UPSC exams, after that you don't feel कि यार मुझे एग्जाम अभी बाकी है मेरा, मतलब अच्छे से नहीं गया, and all of those things. But when you are anxious, now if an anxious human being gives a JE or UPSC, they might constantly worry about it at every stage, like from filling the form for the exams or preparing for them, actually giving the exam, and even after giving the exam. अच्छे से हो गया, they've got a rank, still they may be anxious. As Neha mentioned, it is not necessary that anxiety has a cause. Sometimes anxiety arises from, absolutely no cause. There might be some underlying issues that, of course, we look at it in therapy. But on the surface level, when a human being interacts with you, you may not come to know that the person has anxiety or where it is stemming from, right? So now we'll be looking at some symptoms and causes.
Yeah. So now let us look at the symptoms of stress. So symptoms of stress include headache. So for example, someone might feel stress and they might have a headache due to a long and tight schedule. They might also experience muscle tension. So for example, a student or an office worker might have a neck and shoulder stiffness after sitting in front of computer for hours, or they might experience fatigue or irritability. So the impact of stress is both short term and long term. So now let us look at the short term impact of stress. So short term impact includes feeling worried, nervous, or unable to switch off. That is, one does constantly feel restless. Heart starts beating harder and faster to pump more blood to the major muscles. Breathing quickens and there are tummy issues, or there are skin issues like oily skin and sensitive skin. There is also problem between the sheets. So these are the short-term impact of stress on our body and mind. The long-term issues are tension, heart headaches, migraines, and mental health problems like anxiety. It could be anxiety, depression, serious heart problems, trouble breathing, panic attacks, or skin and hair conditions like acne and hair loss. These are some of the common impact of stress. Also, the causes of stress can range from work pressure to personal relationship. Now, let us look at the symptoms of anxiety. So, anxiety symptom can include restlessness, rapid heartbeat, difficulty concentrating, and excessive worry. So, for example, someone with anxiety might constantly worry about their health even when they have no actual reason for, even without any actual reason. Okay. Also, the impact of anxiety is on mind, body, emotion, and behavior. So it impacts the body, wherein we start sweating, there's a headache, there's chest pain, there's stomach upsetting, and trembling. It affects our mind, wherein one tends to worry a lot. There is negative thinking. One cannot decide or take any decisions. It tends to lead to overthinking. We have race of thoughts. Constantly, there are so many thoughts going on in our head. It also impacts us emotionally, wherein one tends to feel nervous, on edge, low on confidence, fearful, irritable, and it affects our behavior, wherein one tends to constantly seek a reassurance from someone, is compulsive, tries to overwork, they tend to socially isolate themselves or procrastinate or tend to avoid themselves. Now let us look at the causes of anxiety. So anxiety can be due to genetic factors. So someone with a family history of anxiety may or are more likely prone to experiencing anxiety themselves. Then there are environmental factors. So, for instance, someone who is grown up in a chaotic or unstable home environment can contribute to the development of anxiety. Then, traumatic experiences also can lead to anxiety issues, such as car accidents, flooding, also changes such as marriage, career break, or change from one field to another, or change of city. So these all changes also leads to anxiety. Yeah.
Yeah. So now, since we've gathered a little bit of information about what anxiety is, what stress is, and its symptoms, now let's lighten the mood a bit and look at some memes. Okay. Now, one of you can just unmute and read the memes one by one and just tell me what do you understand by the meme, and of course, related to what we have just heard for the 10-15 minutes.
And then I will read the memes. Will it do?
Yeah, perfectly fine. Go ahead.
So first is, how do you deal with stress?
Right. So what do you think, or what do you understand by this? Like, it says that she's crying, but she's still eating.
Well, diverting her mind into that, thinking that she's eating and don't want to think about what caused the stress.
Right. So as you mentioned, no, this is something that the women might be feeling, but when we look at it as, like, the third person, and I am seeing it, the meme shows how often people with stress or anxiety act composed. As I mentioned, कि जब तक वो दिखाएंगे नहीं, आपको समझेगा नहीं कि आप उनको problem है, right? So it's just being overwhelmed from inside, but still showing that I am fine. Okay. And there's one more catch to it, that like she's eating. Now, this can also be interpreted as maybe, anxiety leading to severe mental health disorders such as anorexia or bulimia and eating disorders. So it also goes into that tangent. Now, let's look at the other one.
So overanalyze the situation, immediately overreacts, everything turns out fine.
Yeah.
Oh dear,
So,
I do wish I hadn't cried so much.
so what do you understand by this?
Drowning.
Yeah.
Yeah. So people with anxiety may think of the worst possible outcome. Okay. Even as Misha mentioned, that it is disproportionate to the actual threat. So that's how this meme, portrays the same, that इतना बड़ा कुछ इशू ही नहीं है, बट उनके दिमाग में उनको वो लग रहा है, that there is something that's huge. मतलब उनको रास्ता क्रॉस करने के लिए भी they feel scared, or being in an elevator with many people also scares them. So that's what the meme implies. Then we look at the next one.
One sec. Can I share something related?
Yeah, go ahead.
So we can stop the screen sharing.
Yes, absolutely.
So I had a student who was very scared of people. She will only speak to the chosen people that she knows. So one day I thought she needs to overcome this because she's a singer herself and she has to stand on the stage and perform. So when she sees people, if she is not able to, feel okay with people around her, how is she going to be a celebrity? So she had come once, and her timing I had given in such a way that I had invited another client just at the end of the session that she would be in. And she did not know anything about it, and she thought it's just a single session. And I did whatever I wanted to. And then this guy comes in and sits beside her. And she just cannot look at him. She cannot make an eye contact. And she looks at me and says, "Why did you do this to me?" She can't speak. So she looks at me and says, "Why did you do this to me?" And her hands are clenched and she doesn't know what to do. And that was the first time that I realized, oh God, people can have anxiety to connect with somebody, another human being. I mean, I never see, we know of all kinds of anxieties, but this is the first time I'm seeing somebody so anxious to be beside another human being.
They are like, people with anxiety are very scared to initiate conversations. Of course, the symptoms vary from individual to individual, but these are the most commonly, seen symptoms. And as I mentioned, as you mentioned, छोटे से छोटा interaction also is very difficult for them.
Yeah.
And sometimes even stepping outside the house is also difficult. So
And I'm
it's
very
at that extremities. And now when we are doing the session, it's a very something that can be done at a self level, but there are people who are facing extreme issues, and that needs to be treated and talked about.
and it is easy. I think it took me a month and a few sessions, and she's perfectly fine now. Now she's a life of the class. So that's
That's
the
great.
change that's happened. And that's why, audience, I tell you, these issues may seem to be extremely, difficult, but there are solutions. You just need to work onto it. And people are good. Yeah. Please proceed.
Right, I'll share the screen again.
Yeah.
Yeah, so now I'll just read one. So, you look nice today. Okay, somebody gives me a compliment that I look nice. But in my head, my anxiety would make me feel that they are making fun of me. Now, छोटे से छोटा positive comment also turns negative for the people who have anxiety. And they may, overthink and over analyze a lot. मतलब छोटे से छोटा comment जैसे, oh, you're looking nice today. Now I might think maybe something is wrong with my dress, or something is wrong with my makeup, or something is wrong with the way I look. So this is how people with anxiety may feel. Misha, can you take it over?
Yeah. So as you can see, the next meme, which is me in public setting, pretending my heart rate isn't 140 plus and I'm not having a really large panic attack. So this meme depicts that when people with anxiety try to play it cool, like they try to hide what they are truly feeling, and they try to put facade on their face, and they act normal, but deep down they are feeling quite anxious. Yeah, so this is very, and this is because this could be because of the stigma and less awareness and less talk about anxiety. Okay, so the next meme is me is nearly exploring from stress. Me, yes, it's a perfect time to begin the TV series I have watched 6 times already. So when people are often overworked with stress due to overwork or due to deadlines, or when they're feeling extremely stressed and overwhelmed, they tend to resort to the comforting activities that they like to do. So some people tend to rewatch the TV series they already like, and they tend to procrastinate in order to cope with the anxiety or stress that they are feeling. So these were some of the memes that each depicted how people feel during anxiety and stress. And it makes it this means make it easier for us to relate and understand these feelings. So now we'll move ahead.
Yeah. So, first of all, I'm so sorry for that glitch. And if you want a live example of how an extremely stressed person is, I was that 10 minutes ago. But I was not anxious. So let me explain this with my example that I had not planned to include in the session. So my heart rates were fast. I was extremely panicky. I was moving around each corner of my house to find a good network, but I couldn't. If I was an anxious person, I would have thought गया मेरा अभी लाइफ का लास्ट प्रेजेंटेशन है, मैं कुछ नहीं कर पाऊंगी आगे, मेरा साइकोलॉजी का करियर गया. But thanks to my therapist and managing my anxiety well, I am able to come back here, laugh about it. I might have a good cry after this कि मैंने क्यों ऐसा नेटवर्क का सेटिंग नहीं करके रखा, but I am laughing about it right now, and I am going to finish the presentation. So, acha, sound is echoing. I'm so sorry, I had to shift in another room. Is it better now?
Yeah, we
Give
can
me a
hear you
thumbs
now.
up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah. So now let's look at how to help yourself. So if in a physical, like if you are physically ill, or if you have cut your finger, or if you have burnt yourself a little, what is the first thing you do? Do you run to the hospital? No, right? We do not run to the hospital, but we do not let it remain like that. We need to heal it a little, right? So it doesn't become a bigger problem. So I have some of these techniques that are just like that. Like for anxiety or stress, it might seem very normal or a day-to-day thing to deal with, but it needs to be treated so that it doesn't become a bigger concern for later on. So as I said that जब भी हमें ऐसा कुछ उंगली वंगली कट जाता है हम हल्दी लगा देते हैं ना फटाक से, वैसे ही ये थोड़े बहुत टेक्निक्स है जब आप बहुत ज्यादा स्ट्रेस्ड हो या फिर बहुत ज्यादा एंशियस हो, you can use some of these at your own self by your own self and maybe help yourself a little if it is possible, or you can go to a therapist or any psychologist if needed if the concern is too big. So let's look at them. So all these techniques are well researched and scientifically proven. None of them are just generationally passed. They are scientifically proven as well. So they for sure help and are recommended by therapists around the world. So first is attention centering technique. So when we are stressed and anxious, we may feel very overwhelmed by the thought, and it may seem that our own thoughts are beyond our control. Matlab, when BG ma'am shared an example of that, I was not sure if that was a girl or a boy, but that person, she was very anxious. But uske mind mein itna fast thoughts rush ho raha rahega. Even if she wanted to control it, she wouldn't be able to because she was anxious and stressed. So this is when attention centering techniques helps a lot. So during this time, we can meditate, we can use breathing and visualization to calm our mind and focus our attention. What it does is it shifts our attention from the anxious thoughts that we have. So first one is meditation. Meditation helps by bringing awareness to the present moment. Because हमारे thoughts बहुत haywire होते हैं, we need to be in the present. We need to like take a deep breath and calm down, which is not possible for an anxious person by themselves. So for that we meditate. Now meditate can be a traditional looking at a like focusing on a point and meditating, or it can be guided meditations that are available on YouTube. So guided meditation for exam, if you type on YouTube, you will see a lot of videos, 10-20 minutes videos, and you can meditate with that video. That helps a lot. Then there is breathing technique. So deep breathing exercise can trigger the body's relaxation responses. It lowers the stress level and promotes the sense of calmness. So breathing, it is a fact that whenever anything happens in your body, your breathing affects a lot. So if you get a control of your breathing, it can work vice versa. You can control your breathing and you can control your stress level and anxiety level. So that helps. And along with meditation and breathing, you can add visualization. So it engages your imagination to create a peaceful image in your mind. So it distracts you from the stressful situation and brings a sense of calmness. So I think BG ma'am practices that when you were talking about it in the session. She uses affirmations. So affirmations also go kind of in line with these three techniques. So like purposely reminding yourself and your mind that this is not the case. So attention centering technique is that. Then we come to expressive creative strategies. So expressive creative strategies is helpful because engaging in projects or art, physical activities helps you shift your focus, and it brings a sense of purpose and accomplishment. So when you're working in a project, for example, if you have taken up gardening or if you have taken up to learn a new hobby, from YouTube or anywhere, you have a structure and a sense of achievement after finishing it. After completing the task, you like feel confident. It helps to improve your mood because you know that you have achieved something step by step, and it gives you a structure, as I said. Then and if you have known, many ऐसे YouTube videos में बोलते रहते हैं art therapy करो, ये करो, वो करो. So that is also helpful because art is a very good means of expressing yourself. It can be a therapeutic way to process your emotion, express yourself, and find a sense of calmness and relaxation. Then there is
Riddhi, 1 minute. So this is an example of painting on stones.
yeah, very good example actually.
Yeah. So these are the ones I actually discovered that this really helps me is when I was very angry and I just took a stone to throw at the person whom I was angry on. And I saw some pictures on the stone. I decided to paint it. And so this can help out. There is another thing that I do for stress bursting is these are flowers. These are
Oh,
flowers.
nice.
Yeah. They are just in a shell. So I have a shell.
Okay.
I bring from whichever place I want. And just by smelling this, like, it's so beautiful. Could be one of the offshoots of aromatherapy. And also, this is something which is very, very calming, especially for me. So if you see this is actually wood rose. It's a real dried flower. And you find it on creepers. So then we sort of paint it like this. So
Nice.
this is it.
Yes, so as BG ma'am is showing us different ways of her expression. So art, like expression, is not limited to arts. It includes dance, music,
yeah.
play, and all sorts of, things that you feel like working on. And yeah, Riddhi, you can take it forward.
Yeah, so that's what I was about to say, that many people find themselves releasing the emotions through music, through art, and it is not your typical proper Bollywood. It is just flowing, or even physical activity, as I said. Even doing yoga, dancing, or taking a simple walk releases tension and stress from your body. So it triggers your endorphins and they are natural mood lifters. So you can find different ways that you like, and you can deal with stress, your day-to-day stress. And right, I'm so thankful that BG ma'am just showed us what she does for her anxiety and what helps her not to throw that stone on somebody. Instead, she uses it to like channel her like emotions within herself. So another strategy is reflection and self-exploration. Just like BG ma'am has like found out what works for her. So journaling, self-monitoring, and communication can help you do that. So when you're journaling or when you're doing any self-exploration, you explore your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors, and you identify what triggers you. So you basically become self-aware and you get an insight about your anxiety and stressful situations. So journaling allows you to express your thoughts and feelings in a safe and private space. It can help you to identify patterns in your emotion, behaviors, and track your anxiety level and gain perspective on what worries you. Then like whenever you're journaling, you even talk to yourself, right? Like if you have no friend or if you have no one else who is a safe space to talk for you, so you can journal and you can get so much self insight. This is what Misha, Krisha, and I personally do, and it is recommended for most of the people who are going through a hectic life. Then next one is self-monitoring. So through journaling, you self-monitor yourself. But just as BG ma'am mentioned, she understood what patterns or what makes her stressed and anxious. And then she found out a solution for that. She smells that flower. It is as simple as that. You can smell a flower. You can, after every study session, you can go around and take a walk like in your building or anywhere that you find relaxing, so that वो थोड़ा break मिल जाता है. Then there's communication. Communication is talking about your feelings with trusted individuals, family, friend, or a therapist that they can provide you emotional support and validation. So sharing your experiences can make you feel less isolated and overwhelmed by your anxiety. So these are the activities that have great research backup. And one of the activity we'll be doing it in the next few minutes. Then these are the things that you should not do, and these things make your anxiety worse. So taking too much coffee, even though three of us are coffee lovers, we make sure that we do not consume a lot of coffee when we are already very anxious. Like अगर exam है, तो we strictly keep a coffee, like एक coffee एक दिन में. We do not go beyond that because coffee का intake triggers not only your mood, but it also triggers your hormones and your body in general. So already anxious thought makes you feel as एकदम fast है हमारे thoughts और हमारे control में नहीं है. With coffee you get more jittery. So that you should avoid. Just like that, you should avoid sugar as well, because it kind of makes you lethargic. Like if it makes you feel good for that period of time, but then it makes you lethargic later on. And you should also keep your meals good. So you should not skip your meals when you are in a stressful situation. It is very common कि मेरा आज बहुत hectic day है, I'm not going to eat, I'm going to skip a meal. If you are doing that with a purpose, like अगर dietary कुछ plan है, then it's okay. And if it is recommended to you by a doctor, but you should not skip meal otherwise. And other than that, of course, heavy drinking is not suggested when you are anxious, because it can make you go into the loop. Like अगर मैं stressed हूँ, मैंने आज एक drink लिया, और फिर वो हमेशा एक coping mechanism बन सकता है, which makes it a bigger problem later on. Then not moving your body is also very harmful, because making anxiety and stress makes us lethargic. Just as we saw in the meme, that person was binge watching 6 episodes at a time. And it is a very common coping mechanism to deal with stress, but that is not recommended, and we should consciously be aware that हम ये कर रहे हैं and हम ये थोड़ा ना करें, या फिर हम efforts ले that हम ये नहीं करें. Then there's neglecting your sleep. You should not neglect your sleep. I do not need to explain how important sleep is. It is important for your mental, physical, and overall well-being. Then getting a fresh air. Yes, ma'am. Usha, ma'am.
Miss, I just want to ask something in between. Sorry to interrupt.
Yes, ma'am.
You are
No
telling
problem.
all the self-help techniques. I believe in all this. But when someone is in excess, if he or she is feeling excessive emotional and panic attacks, like
Yeah.
at that moment, it is quite difficult to go for meditation or art or anything.
Yes.
So
Yeah, very
I
true.
think according to me, at that time, prompt or instant thing which can help is that to leave that place at a time, wherever you are in the room or anywhere where it triggers, or if you, it may be the trigger, may be the situation or the person
Right.
or the any situation. So I think, according to me, the
Yeah, you should leave.
prompt reaction is to leave that place.
Yeah.
Then you can try to calm your mind, and then you can divert anything. But at that time of panic attack, it is I think very difficult
You cannot do that.
to divert your mind.
Yeah. Right. Thank you for your
Because
question, and thank you for bringing it up.
over the period of time, that fear becomes our thought and belief, and that creates anxiety more and more. So there, to break that circle of fear, belief, anxiety,
Yes. So
what is the process for that?
Yeah.
uh, I mean, you can answer, then I'll say. Any of you?
Yeah. So, yes. So thank you for bringing that up. When like we discuss about anxiety and stress, this is the first thing that comes to our mind, that खुद से panic attack से बाहर आना is very difficult. We do not know what that person is going through. But now when you said that you have to move out of that situation, that is also something that you have figured out for yourself. So you are self-aware that when I am in an anxiety-provoking situation or when I'm very stressed, that place will not help me. So you leave out of that place to feel better. And all these things that we have discussed, these are घरगुती remedy. जैसे हम हल्दी लगाते हैं कटाया तो these are such small techniques that you can use. So this is a very good thing that you do, and this is something that works for you.
True.
Am I making sense
To add
to
on
you,
to what
Usha?
Riti mentioned, there are a few grounding techniques as well. जैसे breathing के लिए आपको एकदम बैठना पड़ता है शांति में, meditation में. तो panic attack के time आपके पास उतना time ही नहीं होता है कि आप ये सब करो, right? So there are grounding techniques which are of immediate help. There is also a method that's called stop. So जब बहुत thoughts race होते हैं, you are supposed to say it aloud, like just stop. So that kind of becomes your cue to the mind that the mind needs to just stop the thoughts now. And this may work for somebody and it may not work for somebody. As we mentioned, everything varies from an individual to individual, and finding your own coping mechanism is अपने आप से ढूंढना is very good, but there are many people who do not, they're not able to find it themselves, and then that's where therapy comes in, and that's where therapists come to help.
True. And very well put by all of you. But what Usha wants is there some other technique that can be done for the moment? So what you're suggesting to move out of the room is called as changing the state. So it can be as good as I'm sitting here and I'm having that anxiety coming in, I can just stand. If I'm standing, I can sit. If I'm sitting, if I can walk. So that's called as breaking the state. So once you break the state, you get some time. So it's just like when the waves come to the shore and they go back, there is a slight moment, a pause in between. So in that pause is where you can take the decision. So if you can identify the pause and just not resist what's happening, it gives you better understanding of what coping mechanism you can use. So one of the techniques that you can do is to say, Usha, for example, if you're feeling anxiety, the anxiety built up and ना अभी ये और बुरा होने वाला है, मुझे समझ में नहीं आ रहा है क्या करूं. Just accept that anxious Usha. We are not taught that these emotions should be accepted. We're taught, no, you should not be angry. You should not be anxious. अरे बार आता है उसका क्या करूं? Correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's okay. We have
Yeah.
experienced those emotions, and it's been said that 90 seconds, please do not think, because no emotion can remain in your body for more than 90 seconds. So उसको छेड़ो मत. 90 seconds तक आप उसको महसूस करो. I want to feel this angry Biji. I want to feel this anxious Biji. Just allow it and it will be out of your system. But if you start thinking, you sort of stop it. And if it stops on your shoulder, you'll have frozen shoulder. If it stops in your stomach, you'll have acidity problems. So depending upon where this emotion goes, it gets locked there and it could remain for ages. Today itself, I had a client who would come to me and she said she's suddenly developed, she's very happy now after the sessions that she's had. She's very happy and she suddenly developed that ganglion. Earlier, she had already operated it. Now she's starting getting more of it. So she's saying, now why it's coming? I'm very happy and I don't have any stress. Nothing is there. Why is it coming now? So the reason was that because these thoughts, the energy or the emotions that she had felt at a particular point of time remain locked in that area that turned into the ganglion. So the physical symptom is a result of the mental emotions which have not been addressed. So the body tells you, knock, knock, please let me out. Knock, knock, please let me out. I don't want to be here. It's been long. Now start paying attention to me. So since she was in a good state and she was ready for a new life that she's got, she was told that this is something that is blocking. So when she's going to enter into a new phase of her life, she does not need this, is what her body is telling. So if you're very clear about talking to your body and understanding, and constantly being conscious of every cell that is within you, the body is going to speak to you. And if you listen to your body, definitely you will be able to understand. For example, if you feel everything is very sweet, check your sugar. Your sugar content might be high. If you feel everything is salty, maybe your BP has risen. Okay, so this is how your body talks to you. So listen to your body.
Right. And to add on to that, I think the change of state might give ma'am more time to process.
There are
And,
many more techniques.
Yeah, of course.
One more
Yeah.
technique is, Usha, which I'll share with you. It's about cancel, cancel, cancel. And then saying some other sentences so that your mind has a reason to believe why you need to shift. Since you already overshooted time, I can't share it here now. They may be having something more to add. I'll definitely share it with
Yeah,
you.
this is very helpful that you have shared. It's called dichotomous thinking because you're thinking either something is very bad or very good. So just canceling that negative thinking out and saying the opposite of what your thoughts are forcing you to think. Yeah.
Correct.
Yes. So those were some of the techniques, but the doubt is very valid, Usha ma'am, that that moment we cannot do anything about our panic attack because at that moment we are not capable of it. But these are some of the things that you can practice in your day-to-day life so that जब भी हम अगर कोई सर्फर है who is in the ocean, वो ओशन में वेव जब भी एकदम स्मॉल जाते हैं तभी वो कर लेता है अच्छे से सर्व, बट जब भी बड़े वेव्स आते हैं ना तब भी उसको प्रॉब्लम होता है. सो अगर स्मॉल वेव्स के टाइम पे दे आर like they practice and they know how to deal with those small waves, they will be better able to handle the big waves that will come later on. So ये मेटाफर बहुत अच्छे से एक्सप्लेन करता है how why it is important to consciously practice mental well-being in your day-to-day life. Yeah. And that was what you should do for your mental well-being and what you should avoid for your mental well-being. Now, Misha will continue with an activity that is called as 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 grounding technique. This is something that you can do when you're feeling extremely anxious or very stressed. So, Misha, continue.
Yeah. So now we'll do an activity. Like Riddhi mentioned, it's a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 activity. And it's a powerful tool for managing anxiety and stress. And it helps us bring our focus back to the present moment by, engaging our senses, right? So
Yeah.
it's a fun activity. And if every one of you will engage, so it would be fun. So I'll just pick one of you. So any one of you can just unmute yourself and give the responses, and everyone else also have to respond, but just put your responses in the chat box. I'll just randomly pick someone. Okay, I can see Karina. So would you like to do that?
Sure, no problem.
Yes. So and rest every one of you just put your responses in the chat box. I'll guide you all. So before we start this activity, let's just get comfortable, everyone, wherever we are. Okay. And let's just take a deep breath before starting. Okay. So now we'll start with this activity. So what we have to do is we have to see the 5 things that we can see. So we have to look around and identify the 5 things that you can see, and we have to tell these things. So for example, I can see my bottle, I can see my laptop, I can see my phone, I can see the few books lying around. So everyone else, can you please type it in the chat box? What are the 5 things that you can see? And Karina, would you like to unmute yourself and go ahead?
Yes. So the 5 things I see is my laptop, my charger, a water
Mhm.
bottle, my wallet, and a perfume.
Oh, that's it. Everyone else, can you just type it in the chat box? Okay. Okay, so we can go ahead now. Yeah. So someone has told they can see table, mouse, laptop, and Usha ma'am has said she could see sofa, curtain. Yeah, that's great. So we could now we'll move ahead. So now you have to focus on 4 things that you can see. So you have to pay attention to your sense of touch and identify 4 things that you can see and describe the sensation and texture. So for me, I could feel the softness of my t-shirt. I could feel the roughness of the table, the smoothness of my laptop, and also I could feel the smooth surface of the laptop screen. So yeah, Karina, can you go ahead?
Yeah, so one thing I feel is the breeze, the cool air,
Mhm.
the cool air which is coming from the window. The second thing is the fur on my chair.
Mhm.
The third thing is the t-shirt, which I can feel. And the fourth thing can be the touchpad of my laptop, which I'm using to mute and unmute myself.
Yeah, great. Nice. So now we'll go ahead with other. So now can you tell me 3 things that you can hear? So we have to focus on our surrounding and identify these sounds which we can hear. It could be immediate, something which is very immediate or which is very distant. For example, I could hear the sound of my fan. I could also hear some sound of the vehicle just right outside of my window. And I could hear, since my room is just beside my kitchen, so I could hear some vessels noise. So yeah, can Karina, can you tell me what sounds
Yeah.
you hear?
Similar to yours, I can hear the vehicles, the honks of the vehicles from outside. I can hear the sound of this fan. And third thing I can hear is us talking. This
Yeah, yeah. I could also read some few of your responses. Thank you for responding. So 2 things that you can smell. So you have to identify 2 scents in your environment. So if you can't find 2 different smell, think of the 2 favorite scents that you can recall mentally. So for me, it would be I am just craving coffee. So yeah, am mentally recalling the filter coffee smell. And also, I can smell the perfume that I'm wearing. It is fruity and florally. So can Karina, you go ahead and let me know.
Yeah. So earlier I mentioned I could see a perfume, so I can smell that perfume still now. And then I can also smell the saltiness of the of the air,
Mhm.
kala hawa hota hai,
Right.
that I can smell.
Yeah. Okay. So lastly, I just want you all to think about one thing that you can taste. So focus on one thing that you can taste, and if you cannot think about anything that you can taste, you can just recall a favorite taste that you can. So for me, it would be the taste of the mint that I earlier had before the session. So I could still taste a bit of it. So Karina, what would be for you?
Yeah, so earlier this session I had Maggie, so I can still have that taste buds.
Nice. Yeah. So, Karina, can you tell me how do you feel while doing this activity?
So I was just focused on finding one thing or recalling the certain things.
Mm-hmm.
So it just diverted all the excess. Like if I was feeling hungry, but now I'm not, like I don't have that thought in my mind anymore. So that is one thing. It's just like I was like, oh, I can feel, sense certain things which I didn't even thought of. And
Yeah.
it puts like there are minute things like which you don't think or don't put enough attention to.
Yeah, so you like rightly mentioned that it diverts your mind. So when we are anxious, we tend to have a lot of thoughts racing in our head. Our heart tends to beat fast, so we tend to focus on that. So due to that, we are not able to concentrate in the present moment. But this grounding technique help us to bring our concentration back to the present moment. And I personally use this technique a lot, and it's quite helpful because it calms me down and brings me to the present moment. So it suggested that it would be more effective this activity if one does it regularly. And it's okay if you do it when you feel overwhelmed or anxious, but I would suggest if you do it regularly and make it a part of your daily routine. But if one feels quite anxious and the anxiety is quite worse, then it is suggested that you seek help from a professional. So that's about it on the 5 4 3 2 1 activity. You could use it when you are feeling extremely stressful or anxious because it brings back to the present moment and it calms you down as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Karina has to leave. We've overshot the time by 15 minutes. However, is there anything else you want to share?
Yeah, there's this next slide that we will have to mention because that is something we truly believe in.
Yeah.
Therapeutic therapy slide, yeah. Next
Yeah.
slide, next slide. Yeah, so therapy and therapeutic, you see a difference here, right? You see therapeutic activities, drinking coffee, doing household chores, shopping, all of these things are therapeutic. They make you feel good, but they are not therapy. You have seen lately talking to a friend is therapy. मैं आज घूम के आई therapy हो गया. But those are not equivalent. Those are therapeutic things, and therapy is when there is a conversation going on between a therapist and the client or any professional that is trying to help the client, and they use proper research techniques. So this is something we three truly believe in, that we want to destigmatize. That's why we had to end it here. Thank you so much.
So these are some mental health professional details. So you all can look up to like search up for them, or BG ma'am can share the presentation with you all.
Sure.
Yeah, and since we know that mental health can be a little expensive at times, there are pro bono sessions as well. So there are some organizations that provide free or minimum charges for therapy. So you all can always go ahead and seek help whenever required. Thank you.
Okay.
Also, we have also mentioned few helpline numbers in case of emergency, so you could also refer to that as well.
Thank you so much for this wonderful session. I think it was done very beautifully and to the T. And we also had a live experience of handling stress, which Riddhi had to share. But I think you attracted it because you wanted the session to be, really a practical session. And unfortunately, you were the chosen one. So thank you so much, and may the best come to you. So this is Biji Tushar, Leadership Development Catalyst, at our session, which is called as Full Talks or Secrets of Living a Full Life. We are very much interested in bringing more and more value to you, audience. So whenever you're watching this video, whether it's morning, afternoon, night, please comment and do let us know. It's been a lot of effort that these three young girls have taken to share this session with you. And I would also like to thank the audience, Usha, Preeti, Akash, Neha, Vide, Rishon, Bhavya, and Karina for having joined in today. And all those who are watching, do bless these little girls so that they reach their dreams of helping people to elevate their problems, specifically their mental health challenges. So this is Biji Tushar once again. Those of you who are here, please stay online. I'll just log off from YouTube and would like to say something to you. Thank you so much for this contribution, and definitely Management Me School of Confidence pays gratitude to you for this effort that you have taken, and looking forward to see you in the further sessions as well. So audience, please put in your comments for these three young girls, Misha, Riddhi, and Krisha. So thank you so much once again. Good night, Shubh Ratri, and have a wonderful time. Sleep peacefully because you are worthy of peace. I win when you win. Thank you so